I gave a little precursor before you got on about our backstory. And just to say it to your face, I said, we disagreed quite a bit. And, I don't think you're going to change our mind, and I'm not going to change yours. But I do think over a Zoom call or on a podcast where we can actually go back and forth, maybe some more of this can make sense. Twitter's a shitty place to have an argument.
I mean, dude, I'm my worst self on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie.
But you don't hear tone on Twitter. You don't hear sarcasm. And, a lot of times you're sitting there waiting for that next response. And then by the time you get it, you've worked yourself up. And then you say stupid shit. And then you have to apologize, which that's for, anyone listening, that's where we got. We got to the point that Austin and I both apologized to each other on Sunday because it got heated.
I mean, it got heated. And, I kind of felt really stupid afterwards just because I haven't really started acting like this on Twitter until I think the Zack Snyder's Justice League was announced, and just kind of seeing there was just a landfill of just Zack name shit talk and stuff. And one of the things why I like to defend Zack a lot is just because he dealt with suicide in his family, which led to obviously that awful Justice League that we got. And it kind of just had an everlasting impact on me, because being someone who has also dealt with losing family members to suicide, it was kind of personal. And it's nothing really like what Marvel has given me. It's just gave me more of an emotional connection to the director. And some people, I think, get too close with those kinds of people that they admire, but this one kind of just meant more because of the heroes involved.
Yeah. So. Okay. So what I would say is, nothing but agreement in terms of what he went through on a personal level. Anyone who says otherwise, just, go right to hell. Yeah. What I would say to you, stepping back and taking, a little bit of the personal connection away from it, what's the excuse for Batman versus Superman? And I know you seem to have liked it. So I just, again, I feel like I feel like I'm saying this over and over, and I feel like this happens all the time where I have to explain to people, I like Batman. No, I love Batman. I didn't buy this just for you. I own Batman clothing. Batman was my.
I was going to ask you if you were a real fan or not, because there's a lot of haters of this universe who are really huge Batman fans, and one of them is one of my best friends. So I understand.
Yeah, that's in the first episode that we did, I said specifically, I hate it more because of how much I like Batman, because I want Batman to be good. Now, again, I don't want to repeat the episodes that I've already done, and I've already gone over this with you before also. My biggest thing is the DC universe sucks. And really, I shouldn't be saying DC. I should be saying Warner Brothers, because it's not the DC comics. It's the DC cinematic universe, and I feel like they rushed to try to get what Marvel had. Now, I know you are bigger into comics than I am. I don't pretend like I was a comic guy. I wasn't. I was into sports growing up more than comics. I like comics, not a major part of my life. As I got older, I've fallen in love with the movies. So, I can't say if Marvel's comics are better. I can't. What I can tell you, and this is something I can say without a shadow of a doubt, as someone that didn't read everything, Marvel does a much better job of telling the story in a way that I know who every character is and care about them, and I know who every villain is and what their motive is. I still don't even know what Steppenwolf's motive was.
Yeah. If I'm gonna take off on what you said about Steppenwolf and the whole comics thing, I feel like DC has always had a stronger comic connection to its fans than Marvel has. I read a lot of Spider-Man comics. Spider-Man first edition, I can't remember I think it was just called Spider-Man. That is one of the highest selling first edition comics that exist. Also is I think Superman. It wasn't called Superman #1. It was Action Comics #1, I think, yes. Or different issue. Yeah. And that is also obviously one of the highest selling ones. And growing up, I never really liked Superman. I liked Spider-Man more. So I did read a lot of Marvel, knew a lot about the cinematic universe, but it never expanded out into like I read Civil War. It never expanded out into like other universes, other versions of characters.
Right. You didn't Guardians of the Galaxy or I
didn't even know what the hell Guardians of the Galaxy was until the movie came out, and then I read a comic of it. But with Batman, it just kind of and DC, it kind of just spider webs with me from this character to this universe to this reality to this sidekick stories and all his friends. It's just an everlasting web of comics.
So in our first interview that we did, we have on a guy that runs the largest Comic-Con in New England, Mitch Halleck. You honestly, if you don't like us, don't want to listen for us, listen for Mitch. He's awesome.
Okay.
He's a comic guy through and through. He met Stan Lee. There's a great Stan Lee story. I don't want to spoil on here. Well, at this point, his episode will have already aired, so I could spoil it, but I'll let you listen to it. And he actually got job offers from Marvel and DC. So again, I'm kind of relying on his words here, not mine. I'm curious if you agree. He actually said, Batman's amazing, but Batman's a Marvel comic. Not that Marvel made it, but Batman is more along the lines of the typical Marvel superheroes and not so much like the other DC ones. I'm genuinely asking, I'm not criticizing. Do you agree with that? Because I don't really have a reference in the comics.
I mean, the only way I can really see any relation with Batman to Marvel is the fact that, like, if we're going to have a copy of each character, like for every character DC has, every character, like Marvel has a character for it.
Yeah, I mean, they both copy each other, obviously, a ton.
Yeah. So we can't really say one's copied one more than the other. It's they all share the same themes. Like, obviously, Iron Man would be more Batman's copy.
Yeah.
And I guess with imagining Batman in the Marvel universe, I can't see that unless like Tony Stark wasn't there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they would probably parallel off them a lot. They would probably have them feud a lot because they're the same person.
Well, yeah, they're both billionaires. I mean, different, neither one has abilities, right? I mean, they have technology and know-how. I mean, there's very big similarities there. And again, I think the three of us, we do look at this. All three of us are coming from a wildly different perspective. So you are a fan, a comic fan, straight up. I mean, I can see the posters behind you. I know from talking to you, you're a diehard DC guy. So for me, I was a Batman fan before I ever even cared about Marvel. Batman, I liked when I was a kid, I was excited to go see George Clooney. I was excited to go see Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I remember, like, I liked it because I was a kid. Because I think I want to say when that came out, I was like 11 years old, 12 years old. So I was excited to see that, and I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. And then when I was older, I watched it again. I was like, holy shit. Like, what are you thinking? But Tom, so we've talked briefly about this. So Tom, I mean, I'll let you get into kind of your background and what you do. But Tom we disagree on a lot as well. I mean, he's a technical guy. I'm not. He notices when things are shot the right way, when people are holding weapons the wrong way, when there's continuity problems in the movie. We watched The Walking Dead. I'm not sure if you were a fan of that. And our biggest thing is, like, you'd see all these, these houses, and, there's been a zombie apocalypse for years now, and they've all got perfectly manicured lawns. And that's the stuff that he picks up on. And he's like, who the fuck's cutting that grass? This is bullshit. So he gets outraged at things that I don't. So again, we're very different. So you're the comic book fan. I'm the comic book movie fan, and Tom's the technical guy with some history. And Tom, I feel like I've hijacked this whole thing, so I'll let you jump in here and kind of give some thoughts on DC Marvel and ask Austin some questions too.
Dynamite drop in, Rob.
I'm the captain now.
I can relate that to how I personally connect with Steven Spielberg, right? So
don't need to get me started. Okay.
So let me
wait, Tom, are you a Spielberg fan?
No,
him.
I am a Spielberg fan to a certain extent. I will add on to after he's done.
Are you an Indiana Jones fan?
I was not as a kid, but I came more as a fan as I was older because I never fully watched all the movies. I only saw, I think, 3 when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I wasn't a huge fan of it, but as I got older and watched them all, I liked them. I like Shia LaBeouf.
I sidetracked this here because I was hoping you were going to say yes, because Tom. I'll let you give your background here. It's blurry, but yes.
All right. Austin, this is 1993. I'm 13 years old, and this is the first of 4 Batman stunt shows that I put on in front of my house.
So, Tom, in my experience on these, they're a little choppy, but
Well, this one's choppy anyway, just because
it was filmed in 1922. Yeah.
1993. So there's a zip line from a chimney down to the telephone pole across the street. And then we have a choreographed fight going on here, and we have blank firing guns, and we were using mortar shells from firework tubes. You know, the mortar shells that you would drop into the tube.
Yeah.
Except we would just blow them up. We built the cake from the original Batman and drove it down the street like a float.
So he's been doing this shit since before. I mean, I was even watching comic book movies.
I mean, this shit's low-key legendary.
There's the
oh, he's got a lot of footage.
the bat symbol on the roof there.
And the best part is his parents encourage this shit.
They do. My parents are right there along. You know, so okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hi, Larry.
So,
Love your parents. That's awesome.
when I read comic books, I only read Batman. I owned a few Superman comics. I think that people would show up. Oh, I know you read comics, and give me a couple, but I never had that much of an interest in that. I had a few of the X-Men, and I had a lot of the Punishers, but I still today have the one trunk, and it's just strictly Batman comics. But I understand what you're saying. So when you come up at a certain age, of course, with a director that you can relate to, or have, you feel like he's speaking to you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's Spielberg for me. I came up when Spielberg was, when he was making all the movies that changed a generation of filmmakers. But I have seen him go from the guy that had this intense fire that could make these blockbuster films that were also critically acclaimed, to this old man who has totally lost his fire, who is just trying to cash in on making a buck.
It was great. Let's walk away.
Is devoid of a lot of ideas, and that's hard. That's hard to see somebody that you admire kind of morph into that. Do you know what I mean?
No, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. You know.
I understand. So you're trying to relate this love for Spielberg, but also like the shame that you kind of feel for liking him.
So perfect
How it is for DC right now.
Perfect example is every time you go on the internet, I'm in 20, 30 Facebook groups that are all Indiana Jones related, and every fucking afternoon somebody's on there. Oh, watch Crystal Skull again today. It wasn't as bad as it was the first time. And people just obliterate that movie. There are people that absolutely love Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but I've been there for all 4 of the films, right? I remember seeing Raiders in the theater. I remember seeing all of them in the theater, but they had such a profound effect on me. But then when you see the 4th one, you got cheated. We got cheated when we saw the 4th one, and I hear people criticize certain parts of the film, and then people just vehemently defend it no matter what. And I understand it's tough when you love something because you root for it to be good. People went to go see that movie in the theater. They wanted it to be good. It had been so long in between people having anything to do with Indiana Jones that they were just rooting for it to be good. And I think it's the same way with any director or genre that you want. Every time they announce a new Batman project, I get psyched out of my mind because I'm that 13-year-old lunatic that climbed his chimney in rainstorms and came down zip lines because of Batman. I get it. I want it to be good, but sometimes it is exactly what it is.
And we can disagree. I mean, ultimately we're going to. I can already, I think we've known enough. I do want to say the biggest thing for me is I feel like everyone that I talk to from DC is like, this guy hates Snyder. This guy hates DC. He wants it to suck. Nothing would make me fucking happier than
Right.
saying you probably won't believe me, Austin, because you know I love WandaVision. I mean, I've got text to prove it. I'll send you screenshots. I text Tom before WandaVision came out and I said, I'm going to hate this fucking show.
Yeah.
It's going to be terrible. And I love it. So, I mean, I really do try to be fair. Now online, I'm a bit of a troll. I mean, I am, I own up to that. So no, I am. And I get it. Like for you, you're that guy that when you see me, I mean, this all started. Do you remember what the first thing I said was that offended you so much?
Dude, I can't remember, dude. We said so much back and forth to each other. I thought it was stupid because when I argue with someone, I'm like, how did this even start? And if I can't remember, it's not important enough to get mad over.
Someone posted something that said, who's excited for the Snyder Cut? And I replied, no one. That's it. And that's what started this, which again, I'm being an asshole by doing that. However, what I would tell you is that was about a week into us having a Twitter account for this podcast that we're starting.
I know you guys are so new. I was like, they literally just joined.
Well, and so let me explain to you real quick. And unfortunately, by the time this airs, because this is not going to come out for a few weeks. So this is going to come out right when Snyder Cut comes out. So we might have to have you on for a quick recap after it comes out and see how we feel.
And if it gets over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, Rob gets to shave his head.
Nah, whatever. I don't care. So, but
I'm trying, Austin. I'm trying.
That'd be awesome.
So what I was going to say, and this isn't, I'm not specifically talking about you. You did come at me. Okay. You did. And you said, I think at the time we had 12 followers on Twitter. I think we're up to 20 now, but you were like coming from a guy with 12 followers. Yeah. And here's what I would say to that. I hate that argument for a few reasons. Okay. No, and it's fair. It's fair. It's easy ammunition for you. But what I would say, if you were walking by a sandwich shop that was opening that day.
I mean, not now, like 2 years from now when you can.
Yeah, right. But if you were walking by a sandwich shop and it said grand opening today, and that'd be like walking by and going, don't go there. No one eats there. How the fuck would you know? Like, it's brand new. I will tell you right now, we have our podcast is on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, and YouTube. Now,
click below and subscribe. Hit that like button. Smash that like button like a neighbor is smashing your mom, okay? And if you don't like the show,
go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Exactly.
I was supposed to be, that was me trolling you. That was just me just fucking around with you.
I probably would have done
language.
But it's kind of one of the things
you can say whatever you want. Fuck, shit, bitch.
Cock, balls.
Okay. We're in the trust tree. We stomped on a guy the other day because he lost an election by he only got 19,000 votes.
He made a comment that don't listen to this guy who has 19 followers
on Twitter.
So we posted the Twitter election where like the person who won the primary in his state got like 400,000 votes. The next person got like 200,000 votes, and then he got 18,000 votes. So I sent him a screenshot of it, and I said, "What'd you say about 19 followers?" So, Tom, I don't know if you want to go first or you want me to, but I do want to ask some stuff about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I genuinely liked it.
Did you hated the Martha thing, right?
After people,
and I have guilty pleasure movies that I like that I know aren't good movies, but I like them. Yeah.
Caligula, fried green tomatoes, Harry and the Hendersons.
Tom's a big Human Centipede guy. So my thing with Martha is this, okay? I'm not a big Superman guy, and it's not that I don't like the character. I think the character was made too powerful from the beginning, and it makes it impossible to make it realistic with him. That's part of the reason that I think the Marvel universe is amazing, and that's why I love the Dark Knight trilogy, because I thought that even though these were superheroes with abilities or, comic book, Batman doesn't have abilities, but, superheroes, I thought they did the best they could to make him as realistic as possible. And I think Superman, you just can't. It's almost like Captain Marvel, similar situation. Like with that amount of powers, like how do you even have a villain that's worthy of fighting them? So, I get that. So for the two of them to fight and the result or the conflict resolution is that their mothers had the same name. I don't know. I just didn't think that was good enough for a resolution for that fight.
I just think the fight, seeing the movie and watching the movie, I just didn't take the fight that serious. I mean, knowing what happens in films and stuff, you honestly couldn't have I felt like I already knew from the beginning in my heart, I'm like, Batman's going to win, but there's going to be a difference between them that makes them stop. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be one of them screaming the other mother's name because they have the same name as moms. But I mean, like, in the story, they do. It's not like they just randomly named your name Martha just to make that connection. That would have been entirely stupid. That would be awful. That would ruin the universe more than possibly what it's been right now. But it's just, I just took it at face value. I mean, like, I just was like, okay, I can, because he's been traumatized the whole film. He's just had so many nightmares, so many dreams. He's for once in his life, Batman is not the person scaring people with a cape. He's scared of someone out there with a cape. He feels not
stop fucking making sense.
I'm sorry, he genuinely feels scared, and like I felt that. And a lot of people don't think Ben Affleck's Batman is convincing, but like it's convincing to me because Zach's playing off that old man Dark Knight Returns kind of Batman he's not the same Batman we've seen ever. It's something we've gotten completely different. And while some people don't like it, I understand why they don't like it, but I can't personally say I don't like Ben Affleck as Batman.
You can't see my penis, can you?
I wasn't okay with the casting from the start. It took me a while to be okay with it, but at the end I was genuinely impressed with what Ben Affleck did with Batman. You can touch on that, yeah.
So what I would say, and I've thought about this a lot in the last couple of days leading up to this, because I genuinely, people don't believe me when I say it, but I do try to see both sides of arguments.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I genuinely think, and you can tell me if you agree, if Christopher Nolan's trilogy never came out, I would have liked Ben Affleck, and I would have liked what they did with him. Now, my biggest issue with Batman in the DC universe, I'd say this all the time: who's Batman?
You tamed my monster.
Okay, just shut up, okay?
With your mouth. Stop! And 2 other places.
Okay.
In an order that would surprise you.
Enough!
Ass mouth man.
All right, that's it.
Is it Keaton? Is it Pattinson? Is it Bale? And who's the Joker? Is it Leto? Is it Ledger? Is it Joaquin Phoenix? Is it Nicholson? I hate that it's all over. When I say to you, who's Thor? You go Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
I honestly, I hope that the Matt Reeves Batman, the Batman is awesome. And they decide to take that and just start over, but they're not gonna. They've gone too far. They've made 2 Wonder Woman movies. They made Aquaman. Ray Fisher's now not going to be in the Flash. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Now they're saying in the Flash that Michael Keaton, might come back as Batman, which I know that
also going to be here.
And I know that time travel isn't exclusive to Marvel and the Avengers. And I know that sometimes DC is getting screwed here because Marvel beat them to the altar. And a lot of the stuff that DC is doing, I think would be cool if it wasn't like, yeah, I saw that last year in a Marvel movie.
Okay, yeah, I understand that as well. It also goes with like me. I'm able to completely separate the two. I try not to. It sucks that a lot of the companies try and like match their pace. Like Marvel doesn't have to match a pace. The only thing they really was behind in DC was TV. But a lot of the DC TV now is just kind of memed on the internet. It's not really as good as it used to be. Arrow season 1 and 2 were like some of the best like DC TV there is. Flash season 1 was like, I felt like a masterpiece in a way, just for TV and like superhero TV in general. And I'm like, the minute Marvel makes a TV show behind Feige and everything and they connect as the universe, it's going to be fucking over for DC on TV. And I watched and caught up with WandaVision, and I'm just like, they're going to fucking do it. They're going to bring the X-Men and everything into it. They're going to do all this stuff, connect all the universes. They're going to make something that has never been shown before. And DC has done that in their comics, but they have failed to do it in the cinematic TV universe. No one's going to give a fuck about DC anymore.
I think you could be wrong in one way. I think there's a lot of people rooting for DC to be good. I'm one of them.
I really want it to be. I like it right now, but it's definitely not as good as it could be.
What if Disney bought DC from Warner Brothers and started?
I was literally just thinking that earlier. And
what if Kevin Feige in 10 years, it might take a while. What if he gets bored and says, I'm going to hand the keys off? Or what if Jon Favreau decides I'm going to let someone else take over Mandalorian and I'm naming people that are wildly successful right now. It could be anybody. No one knew who Kevin Feige was 15 years ago.
No one.
So, I would love nothing more. I wouldn't even mind if they said we're going to restart the DC universe, but where we're picking up is from The Dark Knight Rises, and we're bringing Nolan back, and nothing else ever happened. The only movies that have ever happened are Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. And I would love that. I don't think it's ever going to happen. And I think they could do, and again, I'm not a big DC comic book guy. I think they could do something where Bale comes back temporarily. And then I know in the comics, there are other Batmans that he kind of passes the mantle off to, which they kind of alluded to a little bit. I'd love to see Robin done in a good way. I would absolutely love to see that. Because again, growing up, I mean, for me, you say Batman, the next word out of my mouth is Robin. I don't, in no way, I mean, for me, it was never just Batman. It was always Batman and Robin. So I'd love to see Robin done well. I'm rooting for the Justice League Snyder Cut to be good. But here's the downside, okay? Yeah. If it's great, if it's fucking amazing, Robert Pattinson's playing Batman next. Like, I don't even know what they're doing. And it'd be one thing if this was like a Sony Marvel situation where, Marvel can't control what Sony's doing with Spider-Man and Venom. It's not. Yeah. They have control of it. So again, I guess my issue is more with Warner Brothers and the people behind the movies than it is with DC in the comics. I wasn't a big comic guy. I couldn't answer these questions honestly, and I don't pretend to know. And I know you said like the animated series. I'm sure they both have good ones. What I will say is the TV series, I tried to get into some of them. Maybe I need to give them another chance. I didn't love them. I also didn't go very far. Only did a couple episodes. But like WandaVision grabbed me right away. I've probably never been more excited for a show than I am for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that's going to be amazing. Well, and I know, go ahead, you talk. Go ahead.
They kind of the thing is, I understand what Marvel's doing with WandaVision. The thing is DC separated their universes at first. But the one good thing that they did do that's better than Marvel is they literally helped people grasp the aspect of the multiverse. They really, really, really got time travel and other Earths and other versions of heroes and stuff out on the table. And they've done that better than Marvel has done yet until they start to do the multiverse. I mean, they brought Evan Peters in from another universe. I
am not convinced that that's what's happening, sir.
I know we'll get into that later. I have a theory too. We're probably on the same page because I've read a lot of things as well and thought things about the other characters.
And something's been off this whole time. Continue, but
I feel like WandaVision is literally just like a movie that was split up into just little parts. That's what it feels like. With CW, it was TV. You know how TV is, how the set productions aren't as great. The production value isn't as good.
Well, that's Marvel's production value. No TV show has ever had this. I mean,
Marvel and Disney can afford, and they can do that. Like with
this is Game of Thrones level production value.
Yeah, it is, and that's something that they can't match. But I also can't just give them the edge at times when it comes to production value, because you could argue that that's the only thing saving Zach's ass. I'm not saying Marvel is making stuff as bad as maybe Zach writes or stuff like that, but kind of like that's how both fans see it. How we see DC fans try and take the bad out of Marvel, while Marvel fans that don't like DC try and take the bad out of DC. Obviously, there's going to be genuinely more bad out of DC than Marvel for things to, for you to be right. Obviously, the Marvel fan can talk a shit all day and say they're winning.
Being a Marvel fan right now is like being a Yankees fan in the 90s.
So good. Yeah, it's because
it's easy to be a Marvel fan. I mean, we're from New England, so we know what it's like rooting for a sports team when they're winning championships. It's easy to do. But what I would say is I grew up in, Tom's even older than I am. I grew up in an area in a time when we sucked. So believe me, I know what it's like to not be good either.
I'm a Bengals fan. How do you think that feels?
I love Joe Burrow. I was go Tigers. I was rooting. New Orleans is one of my favorite places. I was rooting for LSU big time in the national championship. So one of the things with Snyder, and you can, I'm more than willing to listen. What has he done that's good? Like, why does he get so much credit? I don't understand it. The Watchmen, I'm sorry. I hope you're not going to say you like it. If you do, we're all entitled to our own opinions. I fucking hated The Watchmen. And I go through his IMDb and I look at the catalog. And I called Tom the other day and I said, Tom, you're big into movies. I'm not. And Tom, maybe if you want to jump in real quick before Austin here, what's with the Zack Snyder love fest?
I honestly believe it's his stylized action. So you could have got 20 other directors to shoot 300. You could have got 20 other directors to shoot Watchmen, and it never would have looked the way that he decided to shoot it.
No,
I did like 300.
But 300 is it's a stylized type of cinematography. He achieves so much of that in post, right? Which is great, but to me, he's more of like a Michael Bay Jr. To me, he's a guy that can do great action. He's able to coordinate it well. He's not the greatest storyteller. He makes stylized action pieces that look really good. But like my professor in college said, you can make it look however you want. If it's got a bad story, it's a polished turd.
To elaborate on who Zack Snyder is as a filmmaker, if I'm being honest, I didn't know or really was familiar with Zack Snyder until I was dragged to see Man of Steel. I mean, we were at I didn't really start getting into film until I was later into high school. I watched a ton of movies as a kid, but I never really had the hobby of talking to other people about what movies I liked, and then found out it was cool to talk about what movies we liked.
Right.
It's pretty much all I talk about.
Yeah. I just had a friend group like that once I got to high school and everything started changing. And we started doing film together, and we got more into it, broadcasting. Like I said, I helped broadcast a local TV channel we did together. My best friend was the host. I was the director.
Is it public access?
Yeah, it was public access. Yeah. It was a high school project, and we made it our own thing. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like crack an egg.
We they went to the broadcasting film area. I went more business side because I was so good with numbers and I love math, and
because you like a 401k, you like to live in a house. I get it.
I like my education to kind of pay off a little bit. My buddy does work for the news. He's making good money, but
no, but you know what? I mean, Tom and we started this because we're passionate about this stuff. I mean, this isn't what we do for a living. I mean,
yeah,
God willing, someday would it be an amazing job to have to actually do this and get paid for it? Of course it would.
Yeah,
but
I don't get paid to talk shit on Twitter. So
right, no, I mean, I'd be good if I got paid to talk shit. I'd be a wealthy man. But we all have, and kind of sucks sometimes when you have someone like you come on, because you start to connect the people on a real world level where you're like, what am I going to do? Tell him his opinion sucks? I mean, it's an opinion.
Opinion sucks, dude.
Now, just imagine if more of us came together on a level like this.
Oh, Go fuck yourself, McCready. Seriously. Go hang a hammock, would you? Take a walk.
That's my that's my rainbow.
Yeah.
To elaborate on Zack Snyder, I didn't want to get sidetracked about it, but I loved Man of Steel.
We'll cut this all out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. If you want me to talk about Man of Steel and why I started to love Zack, I will.
So, I'll let you do that real quick. My synopsis of Man of Steel. It was good, not great.
Okay.
I'll let you go.
I guess people would argue that Zack doesn't understand Superman and that this Superman is different. I agree. I haven't liked any of the old Superman movies. I kind of like Brandon Routh's Superman in a way, but not really. They didn't go anywhere with it. But I liked Henry Cavill's Man of Steel. I didn't even know who Henry Cavill was. I only saw him in Immortals, and of course, Immortals was a fun movie, but it wasn't greatly rated. It was like an Audie's brand 300 in a way,
right?
But it was still fun. Mickey Rourke was fun. Henry Cavill was badass. And
he's perfect for the. I mean, the casting. I mean, that's like Hugh Jackman with Wolverine. I'll say. I mean. I don't know that we agree on Affleck, but I mean Henry Cavill is Superman. That's Superman.
Yeah, he's Superman, and I didn't start to like the Superman character until I saw Zack put him in a movie and direct it, and I may want to it's more Henry's doing than mine, but Zach helped tell a story that made me love Superman so much. And people want to say he did things differently than the normal Superman would do, and like the fight scene was totally out of proportion, and they shouldn't have fought in the city after the city was already like half destroyed by Zod.
Yeah, but
like,
I mean, what's he gonna do? Say, hey Zod, do you mind if we take this somewhere else? I mean,
his first fight against, like, imagine if
now Rob, you heard Rob talk about how I think things need to be realistic.
yeah,
If you're gonna have two superheroes fight, throw somebody through a skyscraper.
exactly.
And I want to see it come down.
Somewhere else.
see that. So I think of the Hulk and Iron Man with the
Fucking
Hulkbuster
amazing,
armor.
I was
amazing.
about to bring that up.
Yeah.
People want to complain that he didn't take the fight to somewhere. I'm like, they literally did it with the Hulkbuster, and they made it funny while it was happening. I mean,
Correct.
I do think Marvel gets away with a lot too, because if you add comedy to anything, you give it a pass. In our first episode, we talked about that. You know, Tom talks about if he's watching a movie, he'll text me, we're watching The Walking Dead, and he's like, that holster doesn't even hold that type of gun. And I'm like, who the fuck knows that?
Here are tonight's nominees for Achievement in Production Design.
But if you're making the other guys with Wahlberg and Farrell, you can get away with that. But if you're making, at the time, I think I said Jarhead or Hurt Locker, that's where I'll give you that credence to, like, let's have an expert on set that can tell us this is how you hold that gun. And I mean, Tom does projects with, you know, female and male actors that, even though they're not well known or famous, I mean, he'll cut it if they're holding the gun wrong. I mean, that's just how he is.
He's a prick. I mean, that's pretty impressive that you know all that information. I'm kind of the same way with like how stuff is presented in movies in an untraditional way. Like I was talking to you about product placement and stuff in movies. And I guess from when I said that, like, I didn't like, okay, we can get into this later. I don't want to go off on this tangent about
Noob Master.
why I think some things aren't as good about Marvel as other people think, but it's just they know how to take every situation that's serious in the movie, and they're able to throw in some humor somehow.
Yeah.
It's like Batman versus Superman. If they're fighting in something like that, and at the end of Justice League, not in Batman versus Superman, Batman, oh, something's definitely bleeding. I'm like, bro, he would not fucking say that, dude.
I agree. In this,
that's not Zack Snyder doing that shit. That's John.
No, and there's definitely certain characters, even in Marvel, that if they made jokes like that, I'd be like, not him.
Marvel always makes it work. That's the thing. But I see kind of past that bullshit because they always do it in the same way. It's the same.
Because they have chemistry.
Yeah, they're able to have that. It's just like, okay.
So that's another thing as well. So you talk about the longevity of the Marvel projects and how everybody's come and gone in all the different Warner Brothers projects. Rob says, who's Batman? Who's the Joker? They're all different. Okay. So the fact that one movie studio can have such retention over megastars speaks volumes about how they conduct their business. And look at the level, look at the Oscar winning actors that they have in the Marvel films. Tommy Lee Jones doesn't give a fuck about anything, and they got him to be in Captain America.
His ears big.
Robert Redford, all Robert Redford wants to do is direct his own fucking art movies and sit on a boat. That's all he wants to do. Robert Redford was out of films, and they got him to be in The Winter Soldier. Do you know how good that pitch has to be to a retired Robert Redford, a guy who's made more films than any of the guys at Marvel, to say, yeah,
you see it every day. I mean, you see it every day with guys like Keanu Reeves that, like, they'll go to Marvel and go,
they're asking them,
I want in. And they're like, well, what do you want to play? He's like, I don't know. What do you got? Like, and honestly, that's, to me, we in the first episode, we hit on it. Like, I'm already like, I'm pissed off with Matt Reeves' Batman because I like the trailer a lot. I love the trailer. When he does the whole, like, I'm vengeance, and he kicks the shit out of the guy. But then I fucking hear that Pattinson's a little dickhead and doesn't want to work out, and he complains about too many takes. You're fucking Batman. Like, I don't want to go too far into this because we've already done an episode where we really ranted about this. Oh my God. I promise you, we're not making this up. Fucking Pattinson complaining. He doesn't want to work out. They do too many takes. It's too physically straining. I mean, fuck you. You haven't even released the first movie. You know what? Watch Chris Hemsworth's Instagram. Go out in fucking Australia and flip tires in the fucking desert and work out 10 times harder than fucking Navy SEALs do just because you know you're Thor and you're supposed to be fucking jacked. Like, fuck you, Pattinson. You did not get that job thinking Batman was, playing Milton from the Office Space. Like, you knew going into it that this is fucking Batman. You knew he fights villains, he works out, he's got abs. Look at Christian Bale. He got fucking jacked. Like, come on.
I mean, Ben Affleck even got jacked. So I mean, what's that?
Absolutely. Ben Affleck had fucking abs. And you know what? I don't hate Ben Affleck as Batman, but I don't love it. But I never heard him once say, it's physically demanding. And Tom made a great point. He's complaining that the takes are too much. Well, maybe that has something to do with the fact that you don't fucking run or lift weights. It's one thing for me to do it. I don't play Batman, and I'm not going on American Gladiators tomorrow. He's my age. He's like 2 months younger than me, which means all the things about Batman that I feel, he should fucking feel. And that is the dream job of all dream jobs for an actor. I'm sorry.
No, it is.
Comic book movies print money. Sci-fi movies print money. Will Smith is not stupid. You may not like the catalog of movies he's made, but look at the genres he made them in. He's really fucking smart. And Batman is a cash cow, and he could retire off of what he's going to make off of it someday if he makes 3 or 4 good Batman movies. And he's complaining before the first one comes out. Fuck, I'm angry.
I mean, he lied to Christopher Nolan while he was shooting Tenet about going on the audition.
Really? I didn't even know that.
And then so he said to Christopher Nolan, "Oh, tomorrow I have to go. I have a personal thing, like a family thing, whatever." And Christopher Nolan goes, "You're going to audition for Batman, aren't you?"
You think Christopher Nolan doesn't know everything that happens?
But I mean, wouldn't you at least say to the guy, hey, I mean, he's the Godfather of DC. They brought him in as a Godfather for the rest of the films. Not that they listened to much of what he said, but wouldn't you say to the guy, "Hey, look, I know you directed 3 Batman films. They want me to be the new Batman. Got any tips?"
Any tips? What? Any tips you got?
Is it cool that I get a half day tomorrow to go to audition for one of the greatest parts? But instead he lied to him.
I mean, I can't really vouch for Pattinson much. I mean, I wasn't ever really like a huge fan of him. I'm okay with Pattinson, but I didn't know those rumors. I didn't know that he had problems with filming and stuff like that. I know that they had problems shooting because of COVID and outbreaks and stuff.
Yeah, he got it.
Yes. And yeah, he got it. Yeah. And they had to stop production. And he
was probably licking toilets.
Well, he wasn't indoors where the rest of them are. That's for sure.
Yeah,
just recently, more rumors are coming out about stuff, but then now some people are spreading around rumors that him and Zoe Kravitz like had sex and stuff like that, but it's all just bullshit.
Yeah.
But now coming out how shitty of an actor he is, and it's just kind of like unneeded slander. But
I think the Riddler looks awesome.
Paul Dano really good as Batman.
Awesome.
If I'm being honest, I think he looks really good as Batman.
Yep.
I hope we don't see those differences in character because of his exhaustion or anything like that. By all means, I do understand that like people should get in shape for their roles, but then again, to like be Thor is one thing, but to be Batman, who's in his first couple of years, maybe a different thing. But he does still need to stay in shape, obviously, because you want to be healthy. But maybe, I don't know, complaining about something like that just seems like a very actor thing to do. I'm not surprised when actors start to act like they're entitled or stuff like that. I mean, I don't have to like him as a person. I just want to like him as Batman.
Oh, right. I can't wait. I can't wait for this movie. Because I think, it's going to be, I think the movie looks awesome. I love
I think it's great.
It looks like they're making the Riddler version of Heath Ledger's Joker, which I love. Like, it's actually a dark, sinister, like you could actually be afraid of it for once. And don't get me wrong, I know that a lot of these comics, they weren't always based in fear. I am so excited for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness because they say it's going to be a horror movie, which I think that's so wildly original. And I can't wait to see it. So
Well, Marvel's going to take risks now, so
they can. Once you're at,
can.
that's the thing about getting here is now you can do whatever the fuck you want.
They can take risks now after making all their films. Like WandaVision, like that was a risk. Like you said, you thought you were going to hate it. They took a risk, and they're making a pretty all right show right now. We're also speculating what's happening, so we don't know. Maybe the twist could suck. Maybe it could turn out being stupid, but I don't think that's going to happen because they're good at impressing their fans and what they're doing. They're not going to disappoint, especially after all this build up. You have Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out. I'm not too sold on the show yet. I love Anthony Mackie's character, and I love Sebastian Stan. I wish he would play young Luke Skywalker in a TV show sometime.
I mean, he's going to. I mean, look at his face.
I really hope.
That's Luke Skywalker. I mean, he's going to, and I think
exactly like him.
And Jon Favreau is going to produce it, and it's going to be awesome. What I would say is my favorite movie before Endgame was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Okay. I thought that was because you could not be a Marvel fan. You could just take someone that likes espionage movies and put that on. They don't have to know what anyone's abilities are, and they go, "Damn, that's a good movie." The scene in the elevator, where does anyone want to get out before we get started? That is one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen. I mean, it's fucking awesome. Captain America was not my favorite superhero growing up. It was Batman. It is now Captain America. It's 1 and 1A. I mean, 1A and 1B. They're both. I love both of them. Captain America won me over, and it's funny because when they cast Chris Evans, I was like, "What the fuck? The same asshole that played Johnny Storm? This is fucking stupid. Marvel's a bunch of idiots." Now they prove me right, or prove me wrong rather. So I now give them the ultimate respect. But I mean, you don't know me very well. We haven't known each other long. I mean, I rip on everything I don't like. There are a ton of Marvel movies.
Austin's shocked about that.
There's a ton of Marvel movies that I didn't like, that I shit all over.
Yeah, same.
I didn't like Avengers Endgame the first time I saw it. I don't even have a reason. I just had unrealistic expectations that it was going to be the best thing that's ever been created. And then when I watched it again, I was like, they really did a lot of shit. Even though it was three hours, they did a lot of stuff in 3 hours. But I didn't like it the first time I saw it, and I love the movie now. So it's just sometimes I need to see it twice before I calm down too.
I've seen Endgame more than once, and I'm not really the biggest fan. I honestly only think the last hour and a half is worth watching, in my opinion. If I were to watch it again, when the ending starts, when they start to time travel or figure out time travel, that's honestly that's when it starts to pick up. They focused a lot on the desertedness of everything, and that was pretty crazy.
But that's because they don't leave anything to the imagination. And I think one of the issues we have, and actually I don't think I'm ruining it right now.
The issue I have with that movie is that technically everybody was saved by Scott in a way, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Who saved Scott?
Who saved Scott? Are you saying in this movie or in the past?
In Endgame, who brought Scott back?
The Hulk.
No, he came out because the rat stepped on the button.
Fucking rat.
Yeah.
A fucking rat. I was like, really? A fucking rat is going to bring Scott back, and then they're going to treat him all like shit, but then they're going to figure out they can go back and change time.
But again, here's when they were coming out with Ant-Man, Tom and I were both like, why the fuck are they making Ant-Man? Who needs
exactly.
The first movie, the first movie was very funny. It wasn't wildly important to the story. The second movie, you cannot do Endgame without. They had to introduce the quantum realm, but they're funny movies. They're not great movies. They're funny as hell. And Kang the Conqueror is the next big bad villain coming in. It's being introduced in Ant-Man 3 Quantumania. So they've been wildly important. They've been wildly important to the storyline.
They're good at letting their heroes have good villains, or at least villains that create a story. I could go on and on for days about what I'm tired of Marvel doing. And now that they're past phase, I think it was after phase 2 is when I realized they're starting to change it up a bit. But for every character, it just seems like they have an opposite. You know what I mean?
I'm dying to see
on a journey.
I'm dying to see Thor: Love and Thunder and to see Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher.
I think the Thor movies are the best movies.
Taika Waititi is the fucking man, not just for Thor. Jojo Rabbit was awesome. I love Taika Waititi.
Yeah. And for a while there, it was you have Iron Man, Ironmonger, you have what is it, Ant-Man? What was
Red Skull?
the Hornet, Captain
Yep.
America, the Red Skull, differences, the same but different. And it's
But
like
that was most comics back in the day, wasn't it? I mean, look at
Yeah.
fucking G.I. Joe. It was
yeah, I understand that too, but it was just kind of like I felt like they're being very Disney about it, because a lot of like Disney movies, I mean, they're all kind of alike. They have like a love interest, or they have a problem followed by like an animal friend, or like a interesting counterpart on their journey going to save the world or save everything or save the problem they're in and stuff. And I guess I was just making parallels with Disney and what they were doing with Marvel.
Yep.
But then after, because I think it was Age of Ultron, I was just like, man, how the fuck are they going to introduce Quicksilver and kill him in one movie?
Age of Ultron was a big letdown for me. I
It
had high
was.
hopes.
It was a
I
big
had high.
letdown for me.
I had high hopes for that, and I did not love it.
Well, it was all right. It was just like,
Yeah,
no,
no,
it changed some shit.
I think most of the movies I don't like are all right, but I'm not looking for all
Yeah.
right from Marvel. And so all right, so we end our interviews with 10 questions. I got my list for you, but Tom, before we get to that, there anything else you want to go over with Austin before we wrap this up?
Well, so I'd like to jump on that. So you talk about you guys are going through the whole list and things like that, and why would it be important to make Ant-Man and things like that? This puts it into perspective for me. So over the past month, my mother, who will be 70 in April, said to me, she's like, "Oh, I don't understand WandaVision." And I said, "Have you seen any of the other Marvel films?" She said, "Well, I saw a couple." I said, "Well, you can't watch a single episode of WandaVision unless you go watch the other 20 movies before." So I sent her the list and I said, "Stop watching WandaVision and do it." So for the past month, every night I'd get a text message and she would send me like the screen grab of her television set, and it's like, Captain America, and it's like, here we go. And then the next day there would be questions, and then there'd be a breakdown. And I think things like this sum it up the best. My mother would say to me, out of the blue, I'd get a text message, "Doctor Strange was pretty strange." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. And she's like, "Why? I didn't get it." I'm like, "That's okay." I said,
It seems like a George Carlin joke.
I said, "But you have to pay attention, because they made one whole film just to make a crucial moment in another film be absolutely mind-blowing." And the same thing with Ant-Man. She's like, "I loved Ant-Man. It was so funny." And she said, "But I don't think it was very important." I said, "It's going to be important. You need to pay attention to these things." By the time she got to Endgame, of course, she's texting me. She's like, "Oh my God, he just picked up the hammer," and all this stuff. So she's getting all the same reactions that we all, because now she's invested in it. And then we had this whole discussion, and I'm like, now you understand why the Doctor Strange stuff was so important. The Ant-Man stuff was so important. But Marvel has the ability to slow everything down. And instead of jumping from one trilogy to the next, they have the ability to say, "We're going to throw in an Ant-Man. We're going to throw in a Doctor Strange." And even though we know they're not going to be these big tentpole films for us, they are going to make in the ballpark of $700 to $900 million. So that's a bonus for us, right? That's gravy for them. And we're going to still be able to tell these amazing stories at a pace that we want. And there's nothing more satisfying to me than when filmmakers take their time and they tell a story. And I think that is a huge luxury that Marvel has, that DC has they have just lost that opportunity. And now, especially with the TV shows coming to Marvel, you have 6-8 hours to tell these incredible stories, and you're going to weave all this stuff into being. And so when we get these huge payoffs again, like eventually when they introduce X-Men, we're going to go, of course, that's how they did it. Of course, because the stuff we saw in the last 12 to 20 films all makes sense. All that stuff correlates. So I think that their pacing and their ability to take their time and tell that story has definitely set them apart from what DC has been doing.
All right, Tommy, before I get to my questions, anything else for Austin?
Austin, seriously, honest to God, mad props for coming on. I sincerely appreciate it. A lot of people can say whatever they want over the internet, and very few people. You're the first one that I know of ever.
We've been doing it for 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, just in general. I mean, there's been other opportunities and things like that in life. I think maybe randomly someone might send you an email and say, hey, thinking back on this, blah, 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 whatever. Look, people can have their opinions about what they want. I've said, I'll say it a million times. There's a movie and a TV show for everybody. There's an audience for everybody. And you like what you like. But sincerely, thank you for coming on. I thought you were a great addition to the show. A couple times while you were talking, I actually thought you were doing promos for our show. It was flowing that naturally. So a lot of great insight, and I sincerely appreciate it. And go Hoosiers.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It was fun.
All right, so we end our episode. You know, we can have some pleasantries after this too, but we end every interview with 10 questions. So
pop quiz, hot shot.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Off the cuff, don't have to have a lot of thought. Just first thing that comes to your mind. Okay.
Sure.
Top 3 desert island movies.
I'd have to take like a comedy, a scary movie, and like an action movie or a drama. I'd have to say
Step Brothers, Halloween H2O, Schindler's List.
What? Those are your picks.
No. Step Brothers is good, but that's not my comedy pick. No.
Dude, that's hard.
It is hard. That's why I ask it.
Hard. Oh my God. Maybe can I come back to this question?
All right.
So
why don't we
Rob, do we have
10?
a physical challenge that he can take?
Yeah. You got to do 20 jumping jacks now. All right. So we'll do this 10th. Okay. All right. So first question. Being from Ohio, is Skyline chili good?
I am from Northern Ohio. I have not had official Skyline chili. My girlfriend is from Cincinnati, which is where it's at, and
Get her in here.
She does not like Skyline.
Are
Like,
you
not at- like she-
the torso killer?
What? What is that?
He'll send you. Oh,
Just Google the torso killer. You'll be happy to live in Ohio.
all right. Question number 2. What comic book hero that has not appeared on the big screen would you like to see developed?
I can't say Green Lantern because that's already been on there.
See, he's listening.
Does TV count?
I'll give you a pass. We'll say big screen. I said big screen. TV doesn't count.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Martian Manhunter, but I have a feeling that he's not going to be in it for as long, and it's going to be depressing. That's the only thing. It was Darkseid, but we're getting it. I really, really wish they would bring Blue Beetle. I really, really loved Blue Beetle as a kid, or Firestorm onto the screen. He was in the Flash, but I really love the Firestorm character. Him and Blue Beetle could actually start off as like a duo or like a double origin story, since they kind of meet up in a way or have a little dynamic. That's about it.
Okay.
But Robin is a close second.
Yeah.
Like I should say Nightwing, not Robin, Nightwing.
Why not both?
I mean,
Yeah.
you can see him transition into Nightwing. That's what Titans is doing right now. But I mean, it's a TV. That's not really the best thing. It's fun, but
Who was your favorite athlete growing up?
it's probably Chad Johnson. Not gonna lie,
Ocho Cinco.
probably Ocho Cinco.
All right.
That's perfect
All right.
for our 5th episode.
Yeah. The Ocho.
ESPN 8, the Ocho.
The year's 2021.
Oh shit.
How many actors will play Batman before 2030?
They haven't been born yet.
I think one other actor is gonna play him before 2030.
It's only 9 years, Tom.
I'm not good
Besides
at that.
Pattinson, I think one other actor is gonna play him that
Okay.
hasn't played.
What is your favorite Marvel movie?
Oh man, going off most watch.
I have a prediction. You can answer. Look away for a second and I'll mouth it to Tom.
Got it.
Go ahead.
I think you said what I was gonna say. Did you say Thor Ragnarok?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
I'm like, damn, they're gonna know it's Thor Ragnarok. That's what.
It's a
every
good pick.
fan-
It's not, I mean,
every
honestly,
DC
it's,
fan says,
yeah, it's an awesome movie.
it's pretty awesome.
Okay. this is not the question. It's kind of a two-part here. Okay, so are you a Star Wars fan?
Yes.
Okay.
I have some Star Wars stuff down here, actually.
All right. So tell me, you might need a little bit more time on this. Give me your quick thoughts on the newest trilogy.
Sucked ass.
Thank you. Perfect. Let's move on. We agree on something. I was okay with the first one. Last Jedi is the biggest disappointment of my adult life. Okay.
Hate it.
Do you think the movie Django had too many racial slurs?
No. Do you know that I love Django Unchained?
Do I know that you have a dog named Django?
Probably. Probably.
It did not have too many racial slurs. I love.
I don't think it did.
He just got another follower on Instagram.
I love Tarantino's response to that. Somebody asked him, why do they say the N-word so much? And he said, I made a movie about a time when people owned slaves. They said the N-word a lot back then.
That's Tarantino for you.
I mean, he's right. It's the exact right answer. Okay.
If it's offensive to some people, then like, okay, I mean, I don't want to talk about that because that's on them, but it was historically accurate.
So I'm not sure, I know you're from Ohio, so I'm not sure if this question's going to work out, but or not. But I liked it when I wrote it. Why can't Ohio State quarterbacks make it in the NFL?
They're not prepped for the NFL. They're prepped for college football and the college football dynamic. They're not ready. I mean, only few players like Kyler Murray can be NFL ready. I mean, he's like the ultimate college quarterback besides.
Or like Joe Burrow. Carson Palmer.
I mean, like they're like almost anomalies nowadays. I mean, dude, he started off fantastic. I mean, they weren't winning a lot of games, but just to see him play and like manage an offense and lose and come back even harder the next weekend is just he's something else.
Believe me, as a team that had a good quarterback for years and now doesn't, as a Patriots fan,
yeah,
I'd kill to have Joe Burrow.
A lot of people would.
I'm a big Joe Burrow fan, like Joe Burrow a lot. All right, so we got one more, and then we're going to circle back to Desert Island here. I'm changing this one up because I'm going to have to go on the fly here because one of these questions, like an idiot, I'm not even you guys. I ruined it earlier in this, so I'm delaying right now, so to give me time to add a new question before we get to the last one. Shit, Tom, you got one? I mean, I can ask the question, but we already talked about it. My issues with the DC comics are really with Warner Brothers and not DC. Would you want someone like Disney or another large company to purchase the DC comic content and move forward with new leadership?
Yeah, I guess that was the part I was going to elaborate on.
Perfect. I'm glad I kept asking it. Go.
I was going to get into that, but I thought I was going to trail off at what we were talking about at the time. But I personally don't think it's if Warner Brothers wants to further the universe and make it better, if they don't want to sell, in the end of the day, they're going to have to change management. I'm not entirely sure how ownership is. I don't look too far into Warner Brothers and how they are well ran as a business. I'm just going to consider like they're probably like Marvel. They have a creative officer like Jeff Johns was. He was dog shit. They got Joss Whedon on to basically make Justice League from Marvel, which it was a huge fucking fail because they tried to add too much humor. They made the continuity crappy. They made Superman awful in that movie. I did not like how they introduced him when they brought him back. Steppenwolf was dog shit as well. No one was scared of him at all. They didn't give any context to like what his purpose was.
That's my biggest complaint about that movie.
I hated
maybe
it.
Snyder could have fixed that.
And it's 4 hours. So like, I think basically what the first act is going to be.
He made 2 movies.
Yeah. And I think it should have been released in 4 parts, but it's Snyder, dude. He made a 3.5 hour Watchmen movie with no context. Just the fact that their old friends were getting killed off. Night
Owl's hanging dong.
And while you said that I remember you saying that people don't make stuff for their core fan base anymore. But my rebuttal to that is Watchmen.
Yeah, I know, but that's why it did terrible.
I liked it because I knew a little bit about Watchmen, but it's not the greatest thing ever. I can see why people don't like it. I understand that. But he did something that we've never seen before. And a lot of times I take it as like, wow, that was an amazing experience. And a lot of people will look past that and focus too much on like, I'm not entirely sure how the story went. I watched it probably like in 2012 or something. Haven't seen it since. No one just wakes up and wants to watch a 3.5 hour movie. but I remember liking it. Maybe if I watched it again as an adult, I probably might not, if it has like problems that I don't know of. I was a young kid. I was a young teenager when that came out.
I like the TV series. I like the HBO series.
Right. It was just a cool movie to me at the time. So I guess what I'm trying to say is they just need to change management and really focus on putting all their trust in one person or one creative officer and making sure that person is the right person for me. Jeff Johns was garbage.
It's hard. I mean, Kevin Feige, obviously, in a perfect world, DC would have their version of that. But I mean, it's not normal, I don't think. I mean, people like Tom that are really, in tune with the industry, it's one thing. But for people like me, I don't know names usually, like Kevin Feige or Kathleen Kennedy or Jon Favreau, other than for his acting. But that's just what Disney's done. I mean, it's crazy. I know Amy Pascal's name. Why the fuck do I know Amy Pascal's name? I normally wouldn't know that name.
Media has done a better job at recognizing the people responsible for what's going on. Core fan bases with the internet are starting to just get more attached to the people who are directly responsible for the projects. And especially when you, me, and we all get more involved in cinema and film, those names start to become more familiar to us rather than just the actors. It's the people that help bring them to the screen. Because we know deep down inside, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have this, So we appreciate them a little more now.
So Rob mentioned that one of his favorite movies was Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that we watch this whole decade of films unfold right in front of our eyes with these creators doing what's going to be their most influential work, right? This is like the beginning of like the Spielberg era, right? So, but you can credit that switch in the Marvel films to the stunt coordinator, Sam Hargrave, a guy who came up doubling Chris Evans, and then when they got through the first 3 films, they said, this guy, we're going to make this guy the stunt coordinator. And then he just took off and he made the rest of the action for all the Marvel films just absolutely insane. And they recognized his talent and they let him go and stage these incredible sequences. But that's because they have the ability to spot talent.
Get people that are good at their job and let them do it.
Yeah, they do. And I think that's personally, I mean, you guys probably disagree, but that's personally where I have my problem with Warner Brothers is I feel like Man of Steel might be one of the movies that go with me on the island just because it's one of my favorite comic book movies.
There's no wrong answer. It's your movies.
And I felt like with that movie, it got mixed reviews and it was Warner Brothers' fault for being too greedy and not letting him have the pace he wanted. He could have made Batman versus Superman a 4-hour-long movie if you wanted, or he could have made it 2 parts, or he could have made it, they could have been like, all right, don't make it just 1 movie. Let's make this 2 movies and we'll give you the time. They wanted to basically make a Man of Steel sequel. They basically made Iron Man and then Civil War where they all meet up and get the Avengers together and have Avengers 1. That's basically what Batman versus Superman was. Like they basically had all this information and all this story shoved into one movie, and people want to blame that on Zack, but why would Warner Brothers tell this guy to make this movie a certain length, like Justice League, make it 2 hours? That's what they told him. Make it 2 hours. Get all this shit done in 2 hours. He thought it was a joke. He's like, dude, you didn't even let me have the time I wanted to for BVS. I had to throw all this shit in here for you, make this universe that a lot of people criticize or don't understand. Only his core fan base does.
The severe disconnect between management and creative is staggering, right? So yeah. and people can get hobbled all the time by trying to deal with all the bullshit, because in historically, going back to 1989 when Warner Brothers made the first Batman film, the guy that was running Warner Brothers at the time, he didn't know shit about comic books, nothing. And Warner Brothers had a tradition for a very long time. When the summer movies came out, they took all of their capital and they dumped it into one big summer film. In 1989, that they did the same thing that they always do. They dumped it into Batman. They took a ton of risks and it paid off. The problem was they continued to do that every summer, thinking that they were going to, reproduce the same effect, and it really didn't happen. The fact that they got a guy like Joel Schumacher to direct not only one but two fucking Batman films, and the fact that they would indulge someone with such ridiculous ideas and just
chill
and just throw good money after bad, that's crazy. But all those people stayed there, all those people in management, and the bad managers made bad little managers, and it just all trickled down. If you had a guy like Zack Snyder, who someone actually listened to him, I'm sure he came into a room and said, "This is what I want to do," and people probably didn't listen to him. It's always a bad sign and a red flag when people say it has to be 2 hours and 10 minutes. That is a film school mentality that people have, and people say, "Oh, what? Oh no, you wrote a screenplay that's 120 pages. Nobody will read a screenplay over 100." That's bullshit. If it's good, people will read it. If it's 400 pages,
it doesn't matter anymore. If it's good, people will watch it or read it.
Endgame was 3 hours. It made $2.8 billion.
Exactly.
Look at all the people that think outside the box, and they get rewarded for it. But I'm sure that there's a lot of bullshit. Well, we know there's a lot of bullshit that went on behind the scenes, and the guy was trying to make one movie, and then the studio thinks that they can come in and make something else. I mean, it's like the movie Elf with John Favreau. John Favreau directed this movie. He did it his way. The studio came in. They wanted to edit it. They wanted to edit out, I think, 10 or 20 minutes or so of the movie. His movie was so perfect that they couldn't edit 10 or 12 or 15 minutes out of it. It didn't work because he had crafted it so perfectly. And
if you took out 10 minutes, it fucked everything up.
It blew up in their faces. And the only reason they wanted to come in and edit even a little bit was so they could say, "We did it."
Yeah.
It's nuts.
All right. So we got to get to Desert Island here. Would it help if I told you my three?
Yeah, what are your three? I think I have mine already because you guys kind of picked my brain and I thought of things. I already had Elf in mind before you even mentioned it too, because that's one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Okay, so I love Elf, but nowhere near my top three. So my three are easy. They are three of my favorite movies of all time: Caddyshack, Ghostbusters 1, and Empire Strikes Back. And it's simple for me. I mean, there's really nothing else that comes close to those three for me. I love Marvel, but nothing cracks those three.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pick three. It would probably be Happy Gilmore.
Ooh, good one.
My favorite Adam Sandler movie ever. I'd have to pick E.T.
Yeah.
E.T. is, I actually have I love Funkos. I have a Henry Thomas signed Elliot Pop Funko that I don't think anybody I know has. One of my favorite movies ever. And if I had to throw a superhero movie on there, it would probably either be The Dark Knight, or it would be Man of Steel.
Dark Knight would be my number. If a comic book movie got to come as an add-on, Dark Knight would be mine.
Yeah, I mean,
Winter Soldier's close, and Ragnarok's close, and I have a feeling Thor: Love and Thunder might take that spot over. But right now, Dark Knight's still my favorite.
I'm really excited for the fourth Thor movie.
All right. Well, I mean, this is too bad. I told Tom, we talked earlier today. I said, I hope this goes well. Worst case, if it doesn't, we'll fucking roast his ass. But I got nothing to roast. I like Tom said, I said it before you came on. You'll hear it when this airs. I got nothing but respect for someone that stands up for it. You can disagree all you want.
Cheers, Austin.
There you go.
Yes, I'm Thomas. That's Rob. This is our guest. Where is he? That's our guest, Austin. Austin, thank you so much for being on Too Critical. We sincerely appreciate it. And tune in some other time when we have some more stuff for you.
I'll watch some of your content, man. I enjoyed it.
Or don't. Go fuck yourself. I don't care.
You just see me the next day shit posting on all your stuff.
Oh, yeah. No,
Absolutely.
We're right back at it tomorrow.
We'll block and report your ass so fast.
I want to make secret YouTube account. Fuck.
Oh, man.
I'd never do that. I don't have that kind of time.
No, seriously though, thanks for coming on. We had a blast. Unfortunately, we didn't get to have the fight, but we're all dear friends now.
It's okay, man. I appreciate you guys. It's awesome. I'm glad I have two more friends now.
There you go.
You can't save the world alone, Austin, right?
Definitely not being 5'4".
Martha.
Maybe two of us. If you stand up on my shoulders, we make one big coat man.
Perfect. Coat man. All right, man. Thanks so much.
Peace out, guys.
All right,
See
take
ya.
care.
Yeah.
Oh, or we should do a shitty YouTube like bumper that they always do, right? Hey guys, if you like the podcast, make sure you click and subscribe in the link. If not, go fuck your mother. That's going on YouTube. That's going on YouTube. Hey guys, I'm don't jump on my audio. Hey guys. You fuck. It's like a herd of elephants. Here we go. Hey guys, I'm Thomas and that's Rob, and this is the Too Critical Podcast. Click below and subscribe. Hit that like button. Smash that like button like a neighbor is smashing your mom, okay? And if you don't like the show,
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Exactly. That does it for this episode of the Too Critical Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If not, go fuck yourself. And thanks for listening. Everybody stay safe out there. Fins up.
Ra-da-da-da-doo.